Welcome to Chai, Coffee and Chaos!
Woo! This is the podcast where three Afghan Sikh girls come together to talk about their life, their experiences, and a lot of chaos.
Yeah. Lot of traditions, pressures, and culture.
Yeah, and how to do things the right way, I guess.
Unfiltered truths and a lot of things we've just experienced.
My name is Manita.
My name's Gurleen.
And my name's Tajina.
I said that in a very glorified accent. Gurleen. Reclassifying it. I think I shouldn't. Do you have a preference how your name's pronounced?
I don't have much issue in my name. Like, people, they call it Manita, Manita. Like, is it
I know. But I feel like when I'm describing my own name to people, I want to be like Gurleen, but it comes out very naturally as Gurleen.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so if I'm speaking English, it comes out as Gurleen. Yeah. Whereas if I'm like, if someone asks me like in Kabli or in like Punjabi, it'll be like Gurleen.
Yeah.
Like it's just the language I'm speaking, the accent I develop.
That's true.
What is culture?
I'd say culture is more traditions. How you have your own tradition, or where you're from, your backgrounds and everything.
I think culture's like more of like who we are and who we can be and what we identify as.
Yeah. But like there's so much more depth in like tradition and culture.
Yeah.
And let me specify, tradition and culture are two very separate things. Tradition is part of culture, but isn't culture in itself. It's just one part.
It's part of it.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people can't tell the difference, and so they're walking away from their traditions in today's generation and they're disconnecting from it.
But over the years, we tend to have more knowledge to our own culture.
Yes.
This makes us confidence, and we can just say out word, we know what we are now. At that time, if you tell me Indian, I would agree that I was Indian. Because this is what I was known.
That's what you were
This is what I was taught. This is what I was even told by people.
But over the years,
the more you expose with your own culture, people, the more you get to know, and then you label yourself, no, I'm Afghan Sikh, man.
Yeah.
I'm Afghan.
Because the older you get, I feel, as for me, I've really had this experience of saying, I didn't really know that. Who am I? You know, you go out, you try to explore yourselves. People ask you weird questions, and you try to go explore that question, and you're like, well, you ask your parents, you ask the granthis in the Gurdwara, maybe you ask someone in the Gurdwara, or you go around exploring your own culture. Like, who am I? Because then at the end you want to know who you are, but it takes so much time that you realize, oh shit, I'm in my 20s.
That's bad. But you know what is? Some people still don't know until like their late 20s or like even early 30s.
Some people take a shame being who they are, like
different. Especially
they don't want to be like,
especially in our community,
in minority, I'll say.
In our community, I think there's like this.
There are people like that.
There are people who will be like happily call themselves either British, or Indians, and be like, okay, cool, like we were not even. Yeah, I guess being Afghan Sikh is more than just speaking the language of Kabli in a certain way. Everyone has different dialects of
every religion will have their own culture, own people, own traditions.
No, but like no one knows us.
No one
knows us.
Us, like, first
in the outer exposure.
First we are known as Indians.
Yes.
Then we are known as Sikhs. And if we're known as Sikhs, then we're known as Punjabis. Afghan will come very late to the identity.
Can I tell you, recently, I've been working at the same place for God knows a few years, 3 and a bit years, and I had to explain to my manager very recently, like this week, that I'm not Indian.
You're working for 3 years and you have to explain it now.
Yeah, that I'm not Indian. He goes to me like, have you gone Amritsar, Darbar Sahib, like Golden Temple is beautiful. I'm like, of course, I have. Like that's a Sikh like holy place. Like, but that's not got anything to do with my origin. I'm not Indian.
True. So
like my origin is Afghan. He goes, oh wait, what? I didn't know that. And I'm like, bro, like all this season, where was this? I'm pretty sure I'm very loud about it, but so like,
there's a good culture where it just tells us where we are from.
I don't think
where we are from. Like, we're Afghan Sikh. Come on, man. We have our own
deep, rich culture.
Shabang.
Deep, rich culture. Like it's called Shabang.
Like, our music, how we just eat, how we sit, how we just.
The food.
It's so different from
the way we celebrate stuff. Very different to like.
Very different from I would say because we are kind of a mix, but we're more compared to Punjabis. But we're not the Punjabis, so it's very hard to explain to them. Bro, I'm not Punjabi, I'm Afghan Sikh.
Yeah, because we do it in a different way. I think I have to specify to people. Yeah, I'm not Indian. I'm not Punjabi. I'm not like either or. I'm Afghan Sikh, and this is how we do stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like because we're such a minority in a minority, it's very hard to get that across. And we're looked down upon.
That's true.
How much were you looked down upon? In like school and in life?
I think a lot.
First, being a Sikh Sikh person in any school is hard.
In a multicultural
school, it's really hard to differentiate yourself and put your voice out there, or even just be with people and say, you know what, this is my belief.
I think it gets lost. People don't assume it.
Very easily you get lost.
People assume that I'm Bangladeshi.
Okay, I don't know where that came from.
And I was like,
do I?
Huh? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Ooh.
I'm not.
I'll tell you why. And now, coming on to a very, very, very like important topic, I think is our identity is taken from how we look.
That's true.
Don't want to get into that, but okay.
it is true though.
Is it not the same with anyone?
Yeah, I guess so. We do, but like that's how our identity is judged from. Like having brown skin means you might be like from India or but like Indian basically, and that's like the very minimal. Like okay, India is that's done. You know,
that's it. That's the only knowledge out there.
Yeah, I've accepted whatever title they give me. I'm like I always just tend to correct them.
Yeah,
like, no, I'm an Afghan Sikh. That's where we get lost on who am I. Because we have multiple parts of our identity.
Yeah, that's true.
We never lived in one country, so kind of.
Like we're transitional generations. We move around.
No country's ours.
No, basically. Yeah, essentially. Then if you see it like that way, then we are just Sikhs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can't.
Just originated from Afghanistan.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's it. But that's also a culture. No, that's how we.
But culture isn't just limited to where you're from.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
So bringing it on to that's the main thing. Like music.
Yeah.
Yeah, the music.
People like we don't understand it because it's mostly in Farsi, which is again not our own language.
Yeah, that's a language that we don't know.
And then maybe how we just enjoy that song, like we know it all.
like there are like, but even like Gaon, like there's like different like types. Like there's Gaon, which means songs. There's Gaudiya and there's Suhag, which are two different types of things.
Suhag does have Gaudiya as well. This is where all this come from.
Really, I didn't read.
I don't know about Suhag, but Gaudiya hai.
Suhag are more like girl side, right? And they're like more like as in from the girl side of the family, like it's like a girl sort of like bidding bye. Bye.
She's like,
do not come back.
Don't come back soon.
Eventually, no, but like
It associates that like.
Yeah, it's more.
She's going, she's leaving.
And it's very emotional as well.
It's emotional. It makes you cry.
Yeah.
My cousin cried so many times at our wedding.
Like
whenever you hear, I cry.
Yeah, I guess so. Like, I guess
it's really emotional. Yeah,
it gets a bit sentimental.
What's a Suhag that like?
Suhaga.
Sada chidiya da chambave, babul asa ud jana, sadi lambi judai ji, babul asa ud jana.
It's so beautiful though. Like, we know it. A lot of like this like
generation.
A lot of our generation does not know it.
When it becomes sitting in the Tolki, we have Sukhmani Sahibs, and before like getting married,
yeah.
boys and girls side have it, and most of the youth, we can say, doesn't enjoy. And it's not only the youth. The funny fact is, it's like the people like around even their 30s to 40s as well. They're like, I don't understand it. It's not enjoyable. I'd rather have like the DJ going or the dance.
Yeah, exactly. And they're more like, we want new music, yeah?
Someone said that to me once, like, around the... No, it's actually really interesting. Actually, come sit down and hear it.
Yeah, like, listen to what's being said and understand it.
When I sit in that environment, I always sit next to the Tolki wherever's going. Because singing it.
Yeah.
I want to hear it.
This is how you learn, how you engage, how you can even be part of it.
Exactly.
You know, when you were 14, like, you used to take a lot
14,
of...
I think 12, my dear.
Like, yeah, actually, sorry, 12. Sorry. When you were, like, in your early teenage years, that's when you were interested in it. And I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't this proud of an Afghan, like, a girl back then, and I did not pronounce, like, it was not very, culture from, but now I am, like, before I wasn't. You initiated it, and because I was, like, the closest to you in terms of, like, in like family events and stuff. I used to basically like, oh, you'd be like come, and I'd be like, okay, like, and then, like son, just listen and try and bowl. Like, just try. And that's the thing. You were the right influence on me. I think most people when don't have the right influence.
Don't have exposure, don't have influence, and they don't have people.
I guess when I came into this as well, I think it came from YouTube.
Yeah, well, yeah. Defo. But also, like, it comes from, like, I think people don't have exposure because I find it, you know, like, there's this thing where, like, our mothers and our grandmothers or whatever, they don't have a habit of teaching. They're like, you know, we watched and learn. You watch and learn.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, they're very big on the watch and learn aspects. They're not very good on, like, we're going to teach you, like, step by step. No. And I don't think a lot of, like, people in their 30s and 40s, that's why they haven't had that teaching. And that's why they're, like, not interested in engaging. But you know what? Now it's very disconnected because of that. So many people
think, like, only old generation should do it, not the young.
No, but I think it's beautiful.
You guys are the next generation of this whole thing.
Why not carry on?
Exactly. Like, imagine, like, you know, when me or you or one we sit there with the Tolki and we start singing. People are actually quite amazed that we know what we know.
They're very amazed.
I think we can carry on traditions and be part of the. But I think they both have their own sound. They both have their own time at each event. Like, like for example, like if you give like Tolki or like some thing about half an hour to 45 minutes, and then one thing is aside like Garblis, like actual like Afghans are more like it's boring. In Punjabis they still have their lady Sangeet. With the Tolki.
And it's one
no DJ.
And then if you have this kind of thing in our
where there's no DJ,
it will be a disaster sometimes for that.
People
like,
just get bored.
Because people don't know it. That's the problem.
It's like with the lady. Everything is it's somehow
in Punjab
increased. I do believe somehow it has increased than before.
Like no, like I saw someone recently, and I think it was your like family's events where it was like the like younger generation, not all 14-15-year-olds, but like more like 18-19-year-olds had like they were doing the Tolki, but like with their own song. I think that's still okay.
There were girls that they were doing like Dirty the Sun songs
on a Tolki.
And I'm like, wow, mate, like
that's pretty cool. I think that's still cool. Like that's still it's music.
It's music. It's like how they are connecting.
That's their way of engaging and connecting. Yeah, absolutely. But I still think like
the traditional is traditional.
Yeah, you should still do that.
I know it.
To feel connected to it, like it's a form of music, no?
Yeah.
Like you're connecting to the Tolki beats with it. But like you should also learn like the Korean, the swag.
Yeah.
But like when you sit together, you kind of like blend in.
The thing is, when you sit together,
one says and then
one says the one stanza, the other says the another, so it becomes a joint thing.
Yeah, and it's kind of I love it. I love it too. I absolutely adore it.
100% love it. Like it's one of my vibes.
It's my vibe too. But like I feel like but that's the thing.
I'm not against the putting some modern songs into this.
Yeah, but come on.
But they are already there.
They're doing that, and that blend sounds beautiful.
Like, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like blending generations into one like aspect of like culture, the songs.
Exactly.
And making it more interesting, I'll say.
Yeah.
And making more like everyone's part.
Yeah. Like that way, like you can engage like the youngsters, you can engage the 30-40-year-olds, you can engage like still the oldies, and it's like like beautiful. I think that's the thing. Like another part of culture, we live in families.
Yes, this is why it becomes part of us.
We're very family people.
Family orientated.
Yes.
But because we're family orientated, this is another part of culture that we're most of our generation is moving away from. Yeah. The family orientation. People hate it. People like
they like to have their own space, their own
time and
place.
Yeah.
Privacy, time, space, independence.
Yeah.
Hyper independence.
Yeah.
Okay. हमें अपनी parents की ज़रूरत नहीं है.
That's like coming back to like saying, you know how the white culture is like, oh, we're gonna stay out when we're 18, we're gonna go away, and
but then there's
give
a
difference. But that we're not grown up like that, and I think most Asians can relate to this bit. Like we're not grow up like that. We're family orientated. We're more like, oh, we're not gonna leave. We're gonna stay as a family, you know.
But like.
Of not escaping away, that feels like I feel.
Independence is necessary.
Yeah. Okay.
Hyper independence is not necessary.
Yeah.
I think you cannot forget, like, you know how a tree doesn't forget like where its roots are.
Roots, yeah.
Like your roots are our roots are our parents, our grandparents. Yeah. We can be independent, but we can still be part of. Like, be connected.
Yes.
And whether that be living with them or whether that be in our own spaces, I think the importance is the connection and not forgetting your roots.
Yes.
Yeah, that's more important.
I guess people get confused between those two things.
Yes.
It's very easy to...
The line's very blurry.
Yes.
Kuki, what happens is when you're on that independence, like, oh, I don't need your financial support. Yeah. Oh, I don't need to live with you. Oh, I don't need to because so that I can make my own decisions. But instead, why don't you reteach your parents how independence is gonna work
for you and
them? Yeah. Reteach
so get
them.
Get that boundary between.
Teach them those boundaries. Teach yourself. Like, you know how you were like we weren't exposed to it, no? Yeah. We weren't. But over the years, take slow steps to teach them what independence and what life looks like. And teach them to
like
trust
what your
you.
Freedom is as well.
Yeah. Teach them to trust you. This is all my opinions, by the way, again.
Yeah, this is all our opinion. Like, people had dealt so much in life, which is
we always love to be like reading your comments and like understanding your opinions, your views.
Yeah, definitely.
Things. It always gives us an insight on how people think.
Because this is based on
share your comments, do share your opinions about these kind of topics, because it's good to know that there are people out there who have different thinking than us, because we're just here to share from the whole of you guys,
because this is on our experiences again.
Yeah, it's on
our experience and exposure is different.
Yeah, from you guys.
No rights and no wrongs out there.
There's no right and wrong. So yeah.
Yes, that's why. But like, there are so many more aspects of culture.
Yeah. There are many cultures. Like just how we sit, how we eat, it's just so different. Where we live, it's just so different. Yeah, basically how we eat, like the stakhan we have, where we call it. That culture of hospitality.
Actually, you're right. Yeah, like
hospitality culture. I'll say.
Oh yeah.
Actually, you're right. Like, imagine like me trying to bring that concept to, like, outside of our
world. Outside to the world. They don't even hardly know that there's such thing as the stakhan or sakhan, we can call it.
Yeah, we call it in Hindko we call it, I think, right?
And like sitting on the floor,
sit on the
legs.
floor.
I've
crossing our
mentioned
legs, sit on the floor, and having a meal together. It's like basically maybe old generation is the way of having meals together and being together.
The funny thing is, you've reminded me of that bit. But the thing is, the other day I talked to my lecturer. We were very close, and we were just talking about like cultures and things, like how he's Chinese and how I'm like Afghan. Like, you know, he realised that I'm Afghan as well. But that's what I'm saying. And when we talked about it, and we were like, oh yeah, what restaurants do you recommend in like Afghan meals, or what restaurants do you... I was like, you know how the Chinese culture has a specific restaurant that is like mashhoor or famous out there, right? I was like, there's no real Afghan restaurant out there.
No, really, not true.
But I wouldn't know that. I wasn't really I'm not into that, like, oh, there's famous restaurants, but because like I feel like wherever you go, you're gonna find good food.
No, there is. Afghani food exists, bro.
Yeah, the best restaurants out there. Would you know?
Yeah, like Afghani food.
What's the best restaurant? Go on then.
I wouldn't know like the best.
Exactly. That's what I said to him.
No, but there are like. No, there's not like, I don't think there's a best, like, are people, like, if you're Chinese
like, thing, they have, like, a cuisine, like, nice, best place.
But if you, I think
the thing is, it's a minority again. So it becomes very hard to differentiate the good and the bad, because there's hardly any. But if there's around in the local area that we are in.
And it's mixed. Food is very special in that element.
Yeah.
Whether it be, like, Diwali,
Murunde.
She was gonna say pinya, my days.
Yeah, well, the reason
I bet all the Afghans out there can really come into this one and debate.
Okay,
that it's Murunde. Is it Murunde or is it pinya?
No, she's saying similar.
Similarity. Do you think it's similar?
Can I speak?
Okay, go on.
Go on. Let's
Okay. So I think Murunde and pinya, they're made in a very way.
Yeah.
Similar, not the same. Reiterating these two, won't let it go. Murunde and pinya are made in a very similar way, but they are not the same. Yes, but even pinya you can have made out of jaggery, which is good, and obviously Murunde are made out of jaggery.
Fun fact. They you can make them in like. You can make it in squares, or you can make like round balls, like laddus.
But essentially, they're made in like little balls, like laddus.
Yeah.
And so I think in my head, and from what I've seen outside, I think they're very, very, very similar. Now, whether these lot agree or not, that doesn't matter. But it's kind of like the Pani Puri versus Golgappe debate.
Baat to sahi hai.
This is, but it's
excuse me.
But this is more just not a name. They are different.
They are different.
I agree, they are different.
Yeah,
but
the similarity is that they both are made in the cold time. When it's cold.
When it's cold, yeah.
Because apparently they are for
and the shapes are the similar.
Same, they're round.
They're both made with nuts. People, please, exactly. Okay, they're both made with nuts. They're both made with jaggery
stuff.
They're both made with jaggery.
Yeah,
okay.
Jaggery.
And then what else? What are the similar? So when I say they're similar,
the taste is different.
Taste is different. 100%.
And the making process is different.
Yes, but that's why I said similar, not the same. Are you guys like? How many times have I said similar, not same?
Yep, similar.
Bullheading.
Similar.
Anyway, but like finding your identity is very hard.
It's very hard.
As people, I think obviously
it's confusing.
I'm not saying this podcast is trying to help anyone.
No.
But if it is, like, if we're
glad. We're glad.
If we're any sort of influences, the influence that we should be is owning yourself and owning your different identities, and like things that we probably didn't have exposure to,
exactly,
and we would probably I would probably
somehow
like
we can relate to you.
Yeah, we absolutely relate to like all the different like people that said like I don't know, like who am I?
Yes,
because so did we at some point.
At some point, we have also struggled, and to even talk about it's a struggle sometimes, because you actually debate on like, excuse me, no, this is this, because my life experience is totally different from yours, so your life experience will be totally different from ours, so it's totally acceptable and granted to have your own opinion.
We're just here sharing our thoughts to you.
Opinion is find yourselves.
No judgments.
Find yourselves no matter what, and own your identities. I'd say.
As I said in the beginning. I say this to
my youngsters, and I will continue. I mean, I've said this to you. I've said this to my nieces and nephews. Like, be different and own your different.
And
own your identities. I will repeat myself. Own your identities, because you are multiple. Like, you can be multiple things at once.
Totally agree.
And it's beautiful to be. But not knowing who you are is also okay when you're younger.
Yeah.
Neither did we. Neither did we, and neither do we completely now. Like,
but let's stay exploring. We're still learning. There's so much to learn, to gather. Even there's so much aspects. There's still yet to know.
There's aspects of Sikhi. There's aspects of being Afghan. Some we don't know. We don't even know what, like, how, even with Chergai, we identify as Chergai. We don't even know how much of this, what we mean, what we are exactly. We're still on the hunt. We are still on the hunt to explore this.
Yeah, not completely. I guess we are still learning.
And on the way we'll be learning more.
We're always relearning where our roots are. Yeah. But I think as long as you're on the path to be okay and learning, no matter what your roots are, or whether you're Afghan or whether you're Punjabi or whatever ethnicity you belong to, or not even just ethnicity, is some people who don't know where they're from actually. Finding your identity can mean different things to each and every one, not just ethnicity.
That's true. Sometimes ethnicity doesn't even matter in this point. They don't even.
But it's just the way you do stuff.
Yeah, it's just your way. It's actually how you kind to another person. That's what will really impact in this whole world for you.
Final question, guys, for us actually, and even the public out there watching us. How do you feel as an Afghan?
Proud.
Still learning.
I love every aspect of it. The food, the culture, the dance, the music,
I've learned a lot.
Even the old traditions. I love every single bit of it. I feel like it's such a privilege to be even who I am at this point.
Yeah, it's a privilege. I think it's a privilege for me to be Afghan and have the culture I have. It's a very deep, rich culture with the music, the food, the people, the languages, the multi-languages, the Farsi, the Hindi,
it's still
the
funny
Punjabi,
we don't know
the
Farsi. Dari and Farsi.
Yeah,
we don't know it, but
we understand it, okay? Like most of it we understand. And like,
but that doesn't stop us.
No. But I think like the main aspect would be like, I'm proud to be an Afghan, and I'm proud of the culture that but I also respect other cultures, and I'm open to learning about other cultures always. And I think that's what it is when you're rooted from such a deep and rich culture. Like when I walk out or like on holidays, I'm so keen to learn about like how do other people do stuff?
How do they? How's their food? And how is their way of living?
And I love teaching them that this is who I am, and this is my way of teaching. Because I'm like, I want to learn from you, but I also want to teach you my culture.
because we are minority of
I love talking about
it's good to be more open and more verbally out there.
Yeah,
so
if
you
you
just get to the word pass on, like, this is a culture out there as well in the world.
We are going to be delving into more about like how Western culture influences us and our culture in hopefully the next episode.
Yes.
So,
and please thank you for watching, and we will always love you to comment, share, like, and the rest of it.
You share your experience and what kind of culture you're coming from and what's your background. Maybe a little story about yourself.
Yeah, because we'd absolutely love to learn about that and see how that relates to us and what we can take from it. So yeah, thank you for watching Chai, Coffee and Chaos.
Bye.